A sad song to sing. The 10-year-old would sing this song. It's all about the day the circus left town.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, on Saturday, May 25, 1968, 22 Girl Scouts, leaders, and volunteers left the Monroe School parking lot in Des Moines, Iowa for Ledges State Park in Woodward, Iowa. The purpose of the trip was to earn badges and awards. My 11-year-old daughter, Susan, rode in one of the 4 automobiles on the 45-minute trip, leaving her home at 8:30 a.m. Because of the inclement weather, the outing was shortened and the trip home began 2 hours ahead of schedule. About 17 miles from Des Moines, the car Susan was riding in started swerving for about a quarter of a mile when the driver lost control of it and the car left the highway. Susan, who was riding in the middle front seat, was thrown out of the car and was on her feet when the car continued out of control, knocking her down and dragged her about 125 feet down an embankment through mud, water, rocks, and clods of brush, stopping against a steel fence post. The rest of the story goes that Susan was on her feet and led to a stranger's car to ride the rest of the way home in the back of an unknown person's station wagon. Susan was dead within 6 hours of the car accident from injuries that could have been easily treated, thus saving her life. There was no emergency care provided at the scene, no highway patrol, no ambulance. Those circumstances, combined with a nurse who insisted that Susan was not in need of emergency care, killed her. Susan's death sent my grandparents on a heartbroken mission for justice they would never know, and pain and suffering that carried over to other family members, unable to let go of the sweet child Susan they adored so much. My family was changed forever by this darkness.
Amy Putney Koenig, everybody,
hi.
Local artist,
hi.
And it's Des Moines Arts Week, of course, here in the city, and a lot of you may recognize that Amy. You're very involved with the community. A lot of your artwork, murals, all around town. Welcome.
Thank you so much,
Enjoy
Michelle.
having you here this morning, and talk about this piece, that because this showing and that video and all of that, you have a big art installation and viewing this Friday night that we're going to be talking about. Talk about how that comes into play with things.
This came into play. Initially, a friend of mine had asked me to participate in a memorial art exhibit, and so I made this particular piece, and then it led me down this whole art show called Shapeshifter, the Art of Family Tragedy and How to Be Amazing Anyway. So I was able to make this installation, and that was some video from the show, and to tell the story of my mom's little sister who was killed in a car crash. I did not know the details of the story for many years, till I was probably 30 years old. And when I was able to find family relics and papers on the details, it blew my mind what they went through, and how, you know, it was an accident, but there was a lot of keys, a lot of things at play that made it hurt more for my family because they didn't get the help they needed. So that show was really awesome. It was about how to deal with hard things and family trauma and inheritance, and also be amazing anyway, like learn to love yourself and live with gratitude and help others.
Talk about the role art plays in that.
The art is super, for me it's really healing, but it also brings people together in the sense that we all have stories and hardships and family trauma and tragedy, and art is a way, creating it is very healing, and using elements that, you know, I was able to use elements from my family's kind of archives. Like, they've archived all this information and pain and writings of this sadness, so to put it all in a beautiful package to share with others, because I'd like people to remember or know Susan over the accident, that one moment, that accident. And so my mom passed away a year ago, and when she passed away, we had plans for her ashes to be with Susan. And the funeral home was amazing, and they were able to accommodate that. And in doing so, there was this amazing moment where it felt like we could stop the trauma. There could be great healing. There was this amazing feeling of love and release, and I wanted to push that further. So this particular show is a whole installation in a garage that is empty. It will be like a temple.
We have
It'll be
a photo of
beautiful.
the garage. This
Yeah.
is the before shot, before the installation. So
There
this
it
is, you're going to
is.
have everything all beautifully set up, and
Yep.
a wonderful opportunity for people to kind of experience this story. Now, I know your mother was able to see the first part
Yes.
of this exhibit that you had put together. Do you think there was healing that came with
Oh yeah,
seeing this?
she loved it so much, and for her, she made it all about her, like it was a gift to her, and it's still like part of this is she lived so much in the memory of this loss and of this child that she couldn't participate fully in her life because she was really affected by that. And that was part of my doing the show for her as well, to remember Susan and to show her that people remember and really share the story. So she loved it and loved being able to be a part of the event and see the whole process of me making the work and layering the papers and using copies of letters and family photographs. And there's a flyer from a show where she was in the Playhouse. There's a letter from...
Yeah, let's talk about some of these pieces that you brought in. I know you do a lot of collage.
Yeah. So that is a great piece. That was the piece, like I say, that started the whole thing. It was for a memorial show. It's got a flyer from her performance at the Playhouse, which she did a lot of. She knew sign language. She taught young children sign language, and there's a letter in there about how, if the proper care would have happened at the hospital, she could have been saved. She had a head injury. She was on a Girl Scout outing. She was with a Girl Scout leader in a car who was also a nurse. And I think in the moment of panic, she wanted to rush her own daughter to the hospital and left Susan behind to ride with a stranger. So by the time Susan got a ride home, to her parents, they didn't really know what had happened, so they rushed her to the hospital. The hospital didn't know what happened. They thought maybe she just had too much picnic. So it was a little wild in that it was an accident, but she could have been saved. And also in there is a picture of her in her Girl Scout uniform. She loved the Girl Scouts, and I have that dress. That will be part of the display. There's a photo of her in her coffin on that day. They were suggested to have a closed coffin, and the family insisted on having it open because she was beautiful and they loved her, and that's how they wanted to do it. And this new exhibit is the release. It's for giving everyone involved. Like, I'm using artwork and this installation to share the information on the show and on Susan's life and who she was, and also release anybody who ever felt pain from her death, because I know the other family would have been traumatized. I know the caregivers that were there for her must have been traumatized or hurt by this. No one meant for this to happen. So I'm trying to create healing with artwork to the past and hopefully to the future by sharing her story. There's lots of information. I've made collage pieces and paintings, and there's some photographs of Susan that will be available to see if people want to. It's kind of a special portion of the show that not everyone may want to see, but they're beautiful. And people can also bring their own papers. If you have papers or photographs or kind of relics and wrappers and handwriting, little pieces of nature that if they want to contribute to a community collage for their own healing or for a letting go or release, if there's something that is within their family that they think, we all have a little something. And I suggest if you want to let it go for the duration of the show or for a couple minutes or try on letting it go longer, to make room for some forgiveness and healing, that this community art project could be really powerful. So it's a big installation on Susan, I call it a viewing, art on death and reconciliation, because I'm letting go of my family carried resentment for so long, and to me that they can carry that. I understand it, but let's look at the beauty of the child and what she brought to the family over that awful afternoon that took her life.
Talk about, for people at home that are, they can come to this, that may be struggling with some of these same things,
Sure.
about just the process of art.
Yeah.
and helping deal with some of those things?
So it's a way to, for me, it's a way to, it's like a meditation. So the process of creating, of not trying so hard, of not feeling like you have to let go or you have to do anything. Let your art take you there in a way of, maybe it's writing something down to someone that may never see it, but that you need to get out. It's collecting photographs. It's arranging some pieces. It's creating healing by not thinking you have to be anywhere than exactly where you're at with the loss. And within that, I think there can come healing, you know, when we're not focused so much on it. And the art is such a way to soften it, you know, and also create some difficulty to grow through it.
Right. Art on Death and Reconciliation. Your viewing is going to be happening this Friday over on Moyer Street.
Yep, in the Drake
at the
neighborhood.
APK studio from 7 to 10. And hopefully any of you interested can get out and see that, be a part of things. There's lots of things, of course, going on with Des Moines Arts Week, where they can go to the website to find out more information on all of the other events and studio visits that are happening. And also amyputneykoenig.com to find out more about you and your work, and of course more information on the viewing that's happening this Friday. So beautiful, beautiful work, story,
Thank you so
video.
much,
Thanks
Michelle.
for sharing it with us. Look forward to seeing more on Friday.
Awesome.
Thank you. Stay tuned.